Welcome to the Mastering Social Media for Schools podcast. You guys, it's a new school year. We're here, the 25-26 school year, the best one yet. And we're kicking it off with an amazing podcast with Mr. Scott Gordon. Scott is a principal at Regional School Unit 34 in Maine. It's an old town high school, okay? High school of about 540 students. You guys, Scott's been in education for 25 years and he's actually been a principal for 17 years. And Scott has become a social media rock star. You guys, Scott's going to break down his kind of journey into social media, which guess what? It just started 3 years ago. He had no experience in social media, okay? But he dug in, he found some great resources with a few with yours truly, right? We got a book, we got this podcast, and he's learned a lot. And you guys, he's rocking it on Facebook and Instagram. I'm so excited for you to meet him, learn of his stories. He's going to talk about his system of storytelling. He's going to talk about the impact that he's made. I'm going to give him a couple challenges throughout because he loves a challenge. He's going to really talk through some of the best stories he's been able to share. And you guys, he's taken this all on. He's the key social media person at his high school of 540 students, and he's the principal. He's busy, but he has made time. And this role has really made an impact, not only in the community, but on him, on his role. So my ask out of this episode is that share this with a principal or a school leader that needs to hear this, that needs to understand and realize that capturing little moments, whether you're the person that's going to be posting them or you're sharing them with somebody else, those little moments and really focusing on social media storytelling can impact their role so significantly. Okay. So that's my ask. Share this episode. Sharing is caring, you guys, and you're here. You're going to get a lot out of it. So why don't you share this episode with somebody that needs to hear it, or share it with a bunch of people? Okay. All your principals at your schools or other principals or leaders that you know, share this episode. Okay. Now let's get to this week's K-12 PR tip. All right. Today's K-12 PR tip is really simple. You guys, nobody has it all figured out. Nobody. When it comes to social media, the platforms, the algorithms, the times to post, the stories that work, the exact wording that's the best, the video trend that's happening, like no one has it all figured out. You just got to do the work. You just got to share the stories. You just got to get out there and look for the good and make sure that you're sharing it on social media. Is it going to be perfect? Never. Never is it going to be perfect. Scott's going to talk about it today. Sometimes the accidental things he shares all of a sudden end up going crazy. And the stuff he thought would do well, maybe doesn't do as well. But that's why we share it all. So as we begin this new school year, and whether you gear up for your first year as a social media storyteller or your 15th year as a social media storyteller, I was going to say 20 years, but it's almost not been quite 20 years that social media has been around. So I stopped myself. So, when it comes to social media, you're a newbie or you're a veteran, it can be challenging and nobody has it all figured out, including me, including Andrea Gribble, who every day for the past 11 plus years has been devoted to social media for schools. I don't have it figured out either. So we're in this together. That's why you're here. And I just want you to really remember that as you go through day by day by day that you're celebrating your school, is nobody has it all figured out. Okay. So just make sure to share it. Celebrate the big wins, the little wins. It's going to make a difference. Now let's get to this week's podcast, and you'll learn how Scott Gordon is making a difference at his little high school in Maine. Let's meet Scott. So excited to welcome a guest all the way from Maine today. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Andrea.
Scott Gordon is here. He is the principal at Regional School Unit 34, and that's Old Town High School in Maine. So, Scott, tell me a little bit about yourself and actually tell me about how we got connected and you got on this podcast.
Okay. So I'm in my 17th year here at Old Town High School. We're a pretty rural high school. We're about 15 minutes north of Bangor, which is a little over an hour north of Augusta, which is the capital of Maine. Just to give folks who aren't familiar with the state a little bit of context, there are 540 students in the school.
Okay.
And like I said, I've been here 17 years. I'm in my 25th year in education. So I've been around the block a little bit. And interesting story about how I started with social media, Andrea. We had a new superintendent 3 years ago who's younger and really into the social media aspect and sharing the stories of what goes on in our schools. And previously, our athletic director had done all of the social media for not only athletics, but also our school page. And that's overwhelming because we have a lot of athletic programs. And so our page was inundated with athletic stuff.
Okay.
And that came to Matt's attention, Matt Sear, who is our superintendent. And he said, I want to split those two pages. And Scott, I want you to take on the school side. And so I'm not a social media person at all. I have no personal social media page. So at first I was like, oh my God, where do I begin? Which prompted me to look and go, hey, here's a great resource for me. I found you. I found Social Media for Schools. I found Andrea Gerbil. I read your book cover to cover more than once. I listened to all your podcasts, and away we went. And I've really enjoyed it, to be honest with you. It's there are some pieces of it I think I'm pretty good at. So it's been something I found later in my career, but I've really had a good time with it.
Yeah, and I don't know if we're gonna name the podcast what you had suggested, but your suggestion when we do the little interview thing is
Sure.
you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so so what was that like? I mean, did you have fear? Were you excited about it? Were you like,
Um,
I don't know if I can do this because being a principal is like a lot of work already?
yeah. Yeah. Great question. And I think all of those things went through my head, but I'm also one that loves a challenge. And if I even think there's any doubt in someone asking me to do something, I'm going to say, okay, watch. And so I just took it as a challenge and went, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it well. And I'm not trying to blow smoke, Andrea. Your book and your podcast have been tremendous resources for me. I spent a lot of time with both of them.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot in listening to you and listening to your guests and reading the book. And it's been super helpful. And I've written down, I have a list generated of so many ideas of posts that I haven't even got to yet. I mean, Old Town High School is 150 years old. So there's a lot of, it's rich in history, and I'm a history buff. So, I mean, the last couple posts, I don't know if you've looked at what we've done, what I did on Facebook just Saturday,
Yeah.
but I went to our local museum and looked at all of our old stuff about Old Town High School and told a little story about how we began back in 1875. And our class that just graduated in 2025 was our sesquicentennial class, 150 years at Old Town High School. So there's so much there. We have all of our yearbooks. We have tons of pictures here. You talk a lot about Throwback Thursday. I'll admit I haven't done a lot with that. I haven't done enough with that yet. Certainly on my list to do more with. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, that post that you just posted has 28 shares. So
Yes.
it's gotta have a big reach. And that's
And it's interesting. I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's interesting. Like I look at my likes and loves. I look at who it is, and so many of those people, they're not part of my regular audience. So that post reached people I don't normally reach during the school year. And my wife and my daughter laugh at me for all of the times I spend looking at who liked it, who loved it. But I want to know who my audience is. I have to know that in order to. I mean, that's gonna inform me about future posts. So this one hit a different audience totally.
Yeah, I love it. Well, we're going to link up your social channels and your website and even your contact information for folks that are going to want to get more information from you after this. I'm curious, as far as when you started 3 years ago, did you just Google it? I mean, now people are using AI, and which is really cool too, because the resources Social School for EDU has put out come up. But is that what you did? Did you just search it and you found the book?
I think so. I don't even remember now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just a staple in my life now, and
Now
you didn't
I'm
even know it.
God, I'm just your friend from Wisconsin who also
Right?
had to figure it out and just kind of figure out what worked. I wish I would have had a little manual when I got started because it would have saved me a lot. But we're in this together now, and I love the stories you're sharing. So tell me a little bit about how, like, what pages are you running, Scott, and how do you get your stories? You're a principal, you've got 540 students, so about how many staff is that, and then how are staff, maybe getting you stories? How does that all work?
Yeah, I have about 40 teaching staff and then some ed techs and a team of, an assistant principal and an athletic director. And I got to say, my staff are great at getting me stories. I do have to remind them every now and then.
Hmm.
A lot of them follow, love a lot of the things that I do. And I try to keep it as student focused as possible. I keep it very positive. I share the good stuff. And, my theory is, and I take this from you, I'm just going to overwhelm them with all the positive that's going on here because there's plenty of it. Try to control the narrative or from the positive standpoint. So I get a lot of my stories from staff, but I also, when people talk about, you're the principal and how do you find time to do it, I think it's helpful. It forces you to get out. It forces you to look for the positive in the classroom, in the hallway, in the cafeteria. It's there if you look for it. It's right in front of you. And if you look at it from the lens of, hey, it would be great to share this with the world outside of Old Town High School. They need to know it's their tax dollars that keep us going. So let's share with them the awesome things that are going on. And that's the viewpoint I have. Now, I've done a lot with pictures. I'm a picture guy, a camera guy. I know going forward, I need to do more with video.
Hmm.
I haven't done enough with video yet. The videos I have shared have really done well. So that's incentive for me to learn more. But that's an area I need to get better with.
I just listened to some four trombones play me some music. So you
There
shared
you
that
go.
little
Yes.
video, and
Yep.
it made me smile, and I loved it.
Yep.
So, okay, so are you just managing Facebook, or do you have Instagram too?
Oh, you asked that. I'm sorry, I didn't answer
That's
that.
okay.
Facebook and Instagram, but I spend
Okay.
a lot more time on Facebook, to be honest
Okay.
with you.
Okay.
I know my audience is about 65, 35 female.
Okay.
So any post I can do that kind of pulls at the heartstrings a little bit,
Hmm.
I'm headed for that one because I know with a female audience and moms and grams, they're going to love that. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So, how has the social media, presence and, about 3 years ago, you really split the pages. So, athletics still has all their glory. I bet you still celebrate some athletics on your page.
oh,
But,
absolutely.
but
Yes.
what has it done to, the school culture, your staff, and then like the community at large? Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about the impact it's made.
Yeah. Oh, of course, I mentioned earlier, Old Town High School has been around for 150 years. So there's a great deal of pride in the school and what goes on. And I think we have had a lot of success in athletics. So I think it's pretty well known in our community and extended community that there's an athletic tradition here. But it's allowed people to see the academic tradition, the things going on in the classroom, the things going on in the hallway, clubs, activities going on that are not athletic that they also should be proud of and maybe didn't know a lot about before the pages were split and before all of that sharing happened.
Hmm.
So I think it's boosted a sense of pride, certainly with staff and students, and I know with the community because we do get a lot of good feedback about what's going on with the page.
Yeah. What, I mean, have you seen, I guess, any kind of change in enrollment or in staff retention or attraction? I don't know about in Maine, but it's tough to get certified and non-certified staff. So have you seen it help in any of those areas? I mean, either like I've got facts to prove that or just
Yeah,
anecdotally.
not that I can put my finger on right now,
Okay.
Andrea. I mean, we were lucky this summer. I had only one position to hire, so our retention has been pretty good over the last, I would say, dozen years or so. Um, yeah, I can't put my finger on anything there really.
Okay. Okay. And then I'm assuming, do you track some of your metrics? Like, have you been able to see over these past 3 years, not only your followers grow, but your reach grow? I mean, I heard you say you really pay attention to who's interacting, which is really cool when you see, trying to reach those non-followers, right? Who doesn't know about our school and what we offer and how can we reach more of them and kind of use that to inform. But have you looked at any other data that you've kind of tracked?
A little bit. The followers have increased over the last 2 years, 2 or 3 years. So
Okay.
I have watched that number a little bit.
Okay, awesome. And I imagine that your reach is really good because again, if the more engagement you have, the more people you're reaching.
Yeah,
Um,
and it depends on the post, I think, too. I mean, the post I did with the teacher who gave birth here at Old Town High School, that hit a home run. And there have been others. There's alumni posts really do well, especially in the summer. I have a little more time to research those and reach out to some of our alumni in the summer. So those posts do very well. And it's really hard to tell, like any post I do about custodians, just nail
off
it.
the
And
charts.
it's funny. The other last week, I was leaving here on a Thursday afternoon, and I said, I've been a little bit silent the last day or so. I've got to get a post out there. And I walked through the halls and literally just took 4 or 5 pictures of rooms being emptied and furniture in the hallway. And I took a couple pictures of rooms that the floor had been waxed and cleaned. And that post really did well compared to what the expectation was that I had for it. So anything I can do with custodians, kitchen staff, support staff, really, our community seems to appreciate that a great deal.
Yeah. What I love about paging through your page, and obviously these past few months have been summer, and now we're going into the school year, so you're going to have a whole slew of stories, even more to be able
Mm-hmm.
to celebrate. And this is something I think that is really great for people to realize because pictures are great and really high quality pictures are amazing, but they're not always possible. And what I see on this page, and Scott, it's just honest feedback, and it's the same in my little school district in New Auburn. I'm not going to be winning any photography awards with the pictures
Right.
I'm taking. It doesn't matter. People want to be able to see what's happening. And so the fact that we're just sharing, I see some kids on a rope course and then they're doing some outdoor things. They're amazing because otherwise they wouldn't even get to see them. But I think a lot of people, like I've got that sticker, right? Posted is better than perfect and unpublished.
Right.
And so the fact that these things can take really good pictures, and obviously we always want to try to improve that, but don't let that get in the way of being just a consistent storyteller. Oh my gosh, I just found your post of all the computers that got turned in with all the cords. That's
Yes,
like a nightmare.
it
But
was.
but just sharing that out, it builds that trust, it builds that transparency. And what's been your experience with that?
I think people enjoy that. I think, I do try to take, no, I don't. I'm going to retract that. I don't try to take high quality photos. I take the best I can with the iPhone that I have.
Yeah.
But like, I had a funny story. I had a student tell me one time, I was in a classroom and they were doing an activity I thought was neat. So I was taking pictures and I always ask the students, are you okay? And at this point, they know Mr. Gordon is coming around. He's probably going to post this.
Yeah.
So I asked them sort of permission. But one young lady said, you know, you should filter. You should add filters to our student photos. And I'm like, honey, I don't have time to add, photos and make it look like a glamour shot. I don't.
Yeah.
But you do the best you can, and I do think people appreciate that. You
Absolutely.
mentioned videos. You mentioned the trombone video. There's another video of one of our basketball teams at the tournament. I think our girls team, and we had our J. Rotzi color guard present the colors, and we had our band do the national anthem. That one really attracted a lot of views as well because it really put our entire school, our band, our basketball team, and our J. Rotzi on display, which I thought was really important for our community. And the video came out great, and that was a really popular video.
Yeah. I think, you talked earlier about how when you go looking for the good, obviously you find it. And I think sometimes we get so ingrained, and as we start another school year, we're focused on all the things and all the room set up just right and getting your classroom off to the right foot and, all of this. But sometimes we forget about all these little things that make our school special, that people like me, like a parent or a grandparent or, somebody in the community that doesn't have kids there anymore, like they don't get to see. So I think
Hmm.
when you can put that lens on and just say, wow, here is, I mean, yeah, it's an athletic event, but it's just not the athletes. It's the musicians. It's our ROTC program. It's the fans that are in the stands that are supporting our kids. That just gives you this picture of what your school is about. And I just want to applaud you as far as being able to leverage this, especially because you weren't even on social media when you started. So I'm really proud of what you've been able to do.
It's been a great challenge and a lot of fun.
Yeah. So
And I
where do
really
you
like I mean, the inside look. That resonates with me because I have had two kids graduate from Old Town High School since I've been principal, and people say, whether it's graduation or some other event, are you sad that you missed that as a parent? You don't get to sit in the audience and be a parent. And I say, no, I got so many behind the scenes peeks.
Mhm.
My kids in a classroom or my kids prepping for graduation or whatever. I feel honored and blessed. I get a better look actually than a parent who may have just sat in the audience. And so if you look at it that way, you try to give them that look behind the scenes if you can through social media.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've got a pretty good eye for what's going to make a story, but are there other spots where you get story ideas from, some of your inspiration? Because you said you have a whole list of stuff you haven't done yet. So,
I do. I do. I mentioned earlier with Old Town High School being 150 years old, there's so much history to tap into. And like I said, took a trip to the museum this weekend and really started that process. Usually in the summer, I do some alumni. I'm a little behind this year because that involves reach out, oftentimes some back and forth. It's time.
right.
I'm a little behind in that this year. I love doing new staff spotlights. I only have one to do for this coming school year. Um, yeah, sometimes posts just come up on me, like walking through the hallway on the way to the truck and seeing furniture in the hallway and going, "Hey, a custodian post would be great right now. They're working really hard. It's hot out, and they're getting the school prep for the fall." Sometimes they hit you in the face. If you're receptive to that and watching for it, they're there.
Right. So I saw a really unique thing, and I don't know if this has ever happened at any other school. So you had three staff members that all had injuries to their left foot all at the
Yes,
same time. And now
yes.
it happened again. Like, what's in the water there, Scott?
I don't know, but it did hit me all at once that in the fall of this past school year we had three injuries all to the left foot of staff members. So they're all in a boot. So I was like, I took a picture, called it the boot brigade, and then by spring, three different staff members are in a boot, all with left foot injuries. And I was like, this, I mean, that's dying for a post right there, is it not? It's hilarious. It's ironic. And people got a good laugh out of that. And I will say all the injured were more than willing and happy to participate as well. So we weren't trying to poke fun, just
Right.
looking at the irony of something like that happening in a small school.
It is really ironic. Okay, tell me a little bit about how this initiative, this like challenge of, hey, Scott, we want you to take on this social media. How has it impacted your relationships with staff and students and maybe your love of your job? Because I mean, you have a lot of energy and I love that. And you got that growth mindset. But you said you've been doing this 25 years. You've been 17 years at the high school. Have you been principals for 17
Yes,
years?
yes,
Okay, that's a really long time to
yes.
be a principal.
Thank you for reminding me of
Well,
that.
as I get older, it's like, oh man, I've been doing this well. So
Yep.
tell me about how taking something like this on has really impacted you as a leader and those relationships.
Yeah, I think I touched on it a little bit earlier. I think it's really opened my eyes to the positive that are there every day, but you got to be looking for it. You got to be receptive to seeing it. So when you have the lens of not only being the principal and wanting to see great things going on in your school, but also thinking about what would make a great post. What do the people on the outside want to see? What do the taxpayers want to see? What does our community want to see that will make them go, oh, hey, that's our tax dollars hard at work, and that's good use of our tax dollars. So I think it's been positive for me. It's given me new energy for a job that I've been at 17 years. And I think with kids, I think it's it can vary. When they see you coming at them with a phone and they know you've got it sort of in that picture mode, they're like, oh, here he comes, and he's going to want to do a post on this. Some of them are really, they turn on the strike a pose.
Yeah.
And some of them are like, oh no, please don't do this today. I'm not looking just the way I want to look. So, but I think all in all, it's been very positive. I think students appreciate that we're doing this, that we're out there. Instagram is something that's where most of our kids reside and watch what goes on. So I think they're appreciative of that. And staff consistently give me good things to work with in terms of what's going on in their classroom and things that would make good posts. So they appreciate it as well.
Yeah, I kind of got to remember, Scott. I mean, the school I work with, it's K through 12. So we got those little kids that love
Right.
to be on, but middle school, high school, like that gets to be a little more challenging because they're very concerned with how they look online, and they, even
Yes.
though they're posting all the time, maybe on their own channels, maybe don't want to be posted on the school's page. Um, but I think that's powerful. Um, and the fact that it has given you new energy, what would you say to a principal that's might be listening? Because some of my listeners might pass this on to a principal, okay?
Sure.
They just don't think they have the time to make social media a priority. What would you say to those principals?
Yeah. I don't want to poo-poo that because I haven't walked in all of their shoes, but I would call them out on that because I think it's made me better. I think it's made me look for actively and intentionally look for the positive. And it just takes we all have our phones with us anyway. They all have a camera. It's pretty easy to take a picture and go, hey, you share with the community. Look what's going on here. I do put a lot of time into, and I think I'm pretty good at the storytelling part of it, and I enjoy that.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that takes a little bit of time, and I think getting the pictures the way you want them and getting, I try to maximize, 6, 7, 8, 10 photos, and people want to look at those. So I try to maximize that as much as I can. But it hasn't, in my opinion, added a lot of work. It's just added one more thing for me to do while I'm out in the hallways or while I'm in a classroom. And I think like I said, I think it's made me better.
Yeah.
So I
Um,
would encourage new principals that aren't doing it, try it.
yeah.
I think the benefits far outweigh the downside.
Yeah. Quick question, and I'm not sure if you've incorporated students as storytellers at all. We've talked about it quite a bit on this podcast. It's certainly not easy because I'm doing it and I am in my third year and I'm still not a master of it. But have you incorporated any kind of students as storytellers there at your high school?
I was anticipating that question because I've heard that so many times on your podcast, and I always like cock my head sideways like a puppy dog. Our kids are so busy, but I have not yet to answer your
Okay.
question. But I'm not opposed to it,
Okay.
especially the side of things I don't know as much about. I mentioned videos earlier, and that's an area I want to get better at. I think who better than the kids to help with that? And I think spending more time on the Instagram side, which is where they live and where they know a lot about. I think I've focused a lot of my energy on creating things that are good Facebook posts for parents and community. But I think that's where I could certainly leverage having a student or a group of students help me with this, and it would be a good thing.
Yeah. I'm going to challenge you, Scott, for this school year to, I mean, what if it's once a month where you meet with, maybe you get a volunteer group of 3 kids, right? Just 3. And you
Yep.
meet, you have lunch with them once a month and you say, hey, I really think we should do a video on this, and let them brainstorm a little bit and create it. They give it to you, so you'll
Mhm.
post it. You're not turning it over.
Right.
Maybe it just starts there with one video a month. Um,
Yep.
I think that's such a soft entry point, and then they're going to probably give you other ideas. And it might turn into, they're willing to take a picture when they're at some event and get it to you just like your staff does, because that's a really soft entry way to get in there. So that's my challenge to you, okay, Scott?
I accept it, and you know how I am with challenges.
Yeah.
I'll
So
make it happen.
I can't wait to report back. Okay, as we kind of wrap up, what is your best social media tip for the listeners?
Well, I think we've danced all around it, and I think we said at the top of the show. I think if I was a new principal or even a veteran principal, and I haven't taken the time to look at the positive and take on sharing it either on my own, using social media as a leverage point, or if you're lucky enough to have someone who does nothing but that in your school, share some things with them. I think it's never too late to try something new. It's never too late to teach an old dog new tricks. I mean, I learned relatively late in my career. I've really enjoyed it. It's really brought new positive energy to my job. And I guess I would just challenge new administrators or even old administrators to do that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Scott, I am so proud of you, and I'm sure that there's going to be some folks that, hey, our principal, we need to kind of talk to how you're doing this. What would be the best way to stay connected to you?
Oh, goodness. Okay. Yeah. My email address is Scott, SCOTT Gordon, GORDON, at RSU34.org.
Okay.
And I would be happy to email with anyone who wants to start a conversation with anybody who wants to get started doing this, because like I said, I've really enjoyed it. And Andrea, I have to thank you. Your book, your podcast, it's been inspirational. I listen every week. I've enjoyed the guests. I learned something from everyone, even if they're not exactly in my role. I can pick up something from everyone. And you've been such a help. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I love it because I'm learning from every day from people like you. And then I just have a big mouth, so we get it out there in a lot of we get it out there in a lot of different ways. But I'll have your email address in the show notes
Okay.
along with the links to your pages. So you guys make sure you check those out. For sure, share this podcast with the school leaders that you have. And I think this could be really, really helpful. And now they've got a new friend in Scott, and I certainly do too. So thanks so much for
Appreciate it.
hanging out with us today.
Of course. Yeah. It's been enjoyable. Thank you, Andrea.
All right, you guys, this is a great start to the year. Look for those positives, and then we'll see you next week with another great guest on the podcast. Bye bye.